Culture has always been in development, thinking and practice, but how it is conceptualized and when and where put into operation reflects complex historical and geographical patterns of institutional, social and political action. This is where the Dayak Bidayuh National Association comes into play. In the early 1950s, a group of Bidayuh intellectuals realized that the Bidayuhs must be united because they were separated by dialects, distance, and religions. They therefore decided to bring the various Bidayuh dialectical groups under one umbrella body.
My name is Ik Pahonjoik. I'm from Kampong Bogak, Jagoy area in Bau. Currently, I'm working as the Deputy State Secretary of Sarawak, in charge of rural transformation, and I'm also the President of the Dayak Bidayuh National Association, or DBNA. Culture and heritage is sometimes always being confused. Yeah, because culture can be part of heritage, and heritage is also part of culture. But normally we associate heritage with something that have long-lasting impact on the community. Yeah? So a heritage is something that is being passed down from one generation to another. It can be tangible, like for example, gong can be a heritage. The way of life, for example, like architecture, like the baruk, like the bamboo bridge or the tiboyan, can be a heritage because these are, what do you call it, things that are being passed down from generation and generation, and the value become more and more. So that is why they call it, they have the heritage value. And sometimes culture evolve with times and with the environment and with current happening around that community.
And like it or not, there is no shortcut in success. It's all through hard work. We Bidayuh are very hardworking people. You have to understand that. Our parents in those days wake up as early as pukul 4 pagi to the farm, balik almost night time. You see? But have we actually learned more to explore, to adapt to ourselves, to the present technology, to the present ICT, to the present challenge that we have to adapt. We have to change all this perception. All right? So that is, to me, what makes us Bidayuh even greater if we were to be looking forward more aggressively and more objectively to achieve what is there for us like any other communities. We have to compete and we have to be at par with other communities because that is the only way that we can make the community progress and to be seen and to be heard.
Yeah, DBNA is the umbrella body, an NGO for the Bidayuh community. It was established about 67 years ago when the pioneers initiated with DBNA at the time. Their modest objective was just to unite the various sub-regional groups of the Bidayuh, where you find them in Lundu, Bau, Padawan, Pendusan, Syrian. And you know, during those days, in the 50s, they are very parochial. Not that we blame them, but the problem of transportation. So Bau will only know Bau Bidayuh. Syrian will confine themselves to Syrian. So will be in Padawan and in Pendusan. Because the mode of transport at that time was probably the best was either you walk on foot through the jungle and up the hills and valley, or if the Padawan and Pendusan area, they will use the river and the boat. Now, as we progress with the construction of roads opening up, then you see now that the Bidayuh, Bau, Bidayuh, Padawan, Pendusan, they know each other. So, in a way, we have achieved that objective of uniting and getting the sub-regional tribe together as years progress, and that there is more cohesiveness. So DBNA continue to move around. That's why we are setting up branches in all the heartlands of the Bidayuh, whether it's Lunduk, Bauk, Padawan, Pendusan, Syrian, Siburan. The idea is that this will be the branches that will represent the Bidayuh of that area or that region. And the BNA will continue to function as the central body to oversee that these branches will come together for the purpose of uniting the Bidayuh under one umbrella.
Thus was born a new consciousness and awakening in the Bidayuh hinterland of their own identity, heritage, and existence as a community. For the Bidayuh, cultural development refers to the strategic planning and implementing of strategies to leverage the community's unique cultural assets for the economic and the cultural benefit of the community as a whole. The Bidayuh will need the appropriate cultural development strategies to find ways to boost both culture and community. In other words, a cultural development program matches what the community has to offer. The Associations of Research and Development Movement of Singai Sarawak Redeems is a clear example of the Bidayuh culture being developed further to benefit all.
It is very important for the Bidayuh to retain the Bidayuh culture and heritage because one, it can help to preserve your identity as a unique race. And then secondly also, so that you know where you come from and where you go from here. Thirdly, you can contribute to the colors of Malaysia in terms of our culture and heritage. And fourthly, you know, so that we know our psychic and to understand our culture and this one, because all this culture and heritage is influence your thinking, the way you think and the lifestyle. So that you have, when you know this thing, you retain the positive one and drop the not so good one as you go along in life. And of course, lastly, can even monetize our language, our culture, especially our culture, you know, our culture and heritage. Redeem means is Association of Research and Development Movement of Singai, Sarawak. So in short, we call it Redeems. So the name just catches, you know, we redeem yourself, you know, more like we want to develop our people. Okay, Redeem is portraying the culture and our heritage. For example, we have Baroque, you know, we have long houses, which in BTV we are using the traditional one. We follow traditional design. Whereas here in Redeem, we upgrade it into modern long houses, but still long houses. Even the whole here, we designed as concept of long house. And not only that, Redeem Culture Village here, you know, we can hold international event because it's big enough. So, for example, we are going for, like say, international tribal fest, which we can bring the whole tribes of the world to come here. And that's how we can bring the Redeem to the Bidayuh to the center stage to the world, you know. And also, Redeem is developing a reserve where we have the only people who have the remnants of head hunting is Singai and Redeem. And we're going to develop that and put it into the United Nations heritage so that the world will know about it. Okay? So that's what we are trying to do. Yes, it is very, very important. The reason being it helps to preserve and reinforce our identity and uniqueness. You know, as language is one of the factors that if you have your language, and that means you kekalkan you punya bangsa identity. You can understand things and do things better if you know your own lingo, your own language. That's why I think that is very, very important because it helps, you know, to preserve and understand our culture and tradition because a lot of our language is hidden in our culture. So you must retain our culture so that, you know, we can understand ourselves better and people can understand you also.
Another advancement for the Bidayuh in terms of the industry is the Redeem's Botanical Bamboo Park.
So how do we do it? Through, for example, propagation of it, the nursery and the planting materials, we can distribute to our people in rural area and plant the bamboo to become a bamboo industry. to be one with bamboo industry. And also it can provide a training ground, and commercial knowledge on bamboo, you see, because bamboo actually is a very good product, but we don't know about it. We only play with it in the normal traditional way, but we don't know the modern uses of bamboo for building structure, for building, for everything, So when we can have a place like this to train them, then we can help them to involve the industry in the rural area. When we have the planting and the asset management later on and maintenance and the harvesting and processing all this thing, then we can help the industry to bring to the rural area, you see. And Bidayuh are very familiar with bamboo, as I said, but we have to put up into industry so that we can monetize the thing and also do it in the rural area.
Preserving cultural heritage reduces poverty by promoting the visibility and the empowerment of communities. It can at first seem to only be about showcasing history, but it runs deeper. Cultural heritage preservation gives the Bidayuh a chance at a prosperous future.
I never saw myself as a CEO actually. I started at the bottom in the business event sector. That's conventions and exhibitions and corporate meetings and corporate incentive. But 15 years later, here I am, and I'm very grateful. Being in this sector, I have a lot of opportunities to promote not just the business side of Sarawak, but also the culture. I was once invited as a speaker for She Means Business in Frankfurt, Germany, representing Malaysia. I was supposed to perform a Bidayuh dance called the Eagle Spirit to tell a story about how eagles are visionary. They see ahead, months ahead. Eagles are patient to map out the situation before making decisions. Therefore, we must be like the eagle. We must have a big focused vision to produce big results. With this, I realized that success isn't about race. It's about understanding cultural values and differences so that you can work with others better and perform in your organization better.
Some comment that we receive is that Bidayuh is a small community. And some people look at being small, we don't have the bargaining power. People might bully us. But in actual fact, small will be something that will be handy to handle. When you're small, you are able to come together very fast. You are able to communicate with each other in a very efficient and a very fast way. So we should not look at the number as our weakness, but we should try to improve on our quality. So let us focus on education so that when people look at the community, they will say, wow, even though they are a small community, but they have a lot of professionals. You can see Bidayuh here all day, and also you can see Bidayuh working at both government and private sector.
But one thing that I learned is that if the opportunity is not given to us, we must create the opportunity. And if you are the person who has enjoyed that opportunity, you must create the opportunity to someone else. I think by doing that, it will create a cycle of success, not just for yourself, for the community, for your neighbor, for your brothers, sisters, and everyone else.
Logical mentality is like this. Sometimes some of our people tend to get jealous when they see their friend going up. So we should not pull them down. So the current mentality is that, let's say, the theory is like this. When you put a crab in the basin, those who want to go up, the other crab will pull him down. So in the end, all of them got stuck in the basin there. So the same thing with this theory, So we should not pull our friend down. In fact, when we see our friend going up, we should be pushing him further up rather than pull him down to be not progressive like everybody else, you see.
I mean, we have to be more daring to move forward. Regardless of how many times we fail, tidak apa. Coba lagi dan coba lagi till you are successful.
Besides that, we have to preserve our culture, our identity, the Bidayuh identity. And I always believe the BNA have that philosophy whereby we would like to have the Bidayuh preserve their name, their name to represent that they are Bidayuh.
I would like the language or the dialect to be prepared. We do have a word list which is more or less like a dictionary, which is Bidayuh, English and Bahasa. But to me, that may not be enough because you need to practice. And I think the school, what they call this heritage school in the kampong is good, whereby people, at the initiative of the kampong people, they try to teach Bidayuh language among the younger generation.
So language to me is a very important element that we should continue to not only promote, but we should speak, so that become the identity of a Bidayuh. So if you speak Bukar Sadong, then we know, this is a Bidayuh from Syrian. If you speak Jagoy, or Singai, or Krokong, or Broi, they will say, ini Bidayuh from Bau. So automatically we create that type of identity through the lingua that you are speaking.
Rest assured, the Bidayuh culture or language will never die. Why? Because we Bidayuh will speak other language when we are with other community, and this should be preserved, right? The Bidayuh should preserve this language, their mother tongue. And beside our structure, our well-being, education, education is still vital for the community to move forward, and I hope that the 100% of the Bidayuh community will go to school.
Before they go to kindergarten, in other words, at least they must know their mother tongue, because it is believed that people who speak their mother tongue, they can grasp and understand the knowledge that are coming in other languages like English and Bahasa Malaysia.
I think what's next, or the way forward, and also my hope for the younger generation to come, in my opinion, is as follows. One, overall, the Bidayuh must strive hard, to involve in their own development and do not wait for people to develop us. And second thing, we must educate ourselves not only academically but also technically, so that we're able to compete and thrive in a modern, ever-changing world.
I feel that the Bidayuh should, we're talking about education, the way forward, and the Bidayuh need this actually, need education, good education. I said education because we talk of business or this sort of thing, we might not have that much, the cash or the finance, but we need education. That's why I said Bidayuh must concentrate on education to be able to penetrate all the other parts of things in life now, be it business, government service, private sector, all this.
And to me, I always believe that education is the topmost priority, right, for the community. Without education, you cannot excel. You cannot go anywhere. You see, that is why education is our topmost priority.
Yeah, what we should preserve now is our identity. Our identity as Bidayuh. The identity that we have now is, like I told you just now, is not only just material identity, the Bala, the Baruk, the Panga, all that. But our identity is the general consensus that we have now is we have to accept the fact that the differences that we have now, the dialect that we have now, the culture that we have now must not be seen as the differences that divides us. It has to be preserved. This culture, though differs, but we have to preserve it.
I do hope our younger generation not only to be more united, but they are more brave, more vibrant, and more bold to face these more challenging years to come. Not only they have to be excel in education, but they have to be more knowledgeable in technologies too. Because the world nowadays is not only based on what you have on paper.
And to make Bidayuh people, strong, united and seen with the differences of dialects, belief and culture, for that matter. And yet, we can be seen as one Bidayuh. And one Bidayuh is by itself an identity. One identity must come with culture. One culture must come with strong belief. That is to me something that we have to preserve. That is to accept that the differences that we have must be our strength to be united and to be a Bidayuh.
Dadag nagbala nakinya ada bau, tak bau, bela pemujang, kita itik sen memang mudip da dunia madi ko niya ya. Iuog kayo bau-bau. Dan akhir lagi pengguna ada tuna-tunanya itik saya dia dapat kita main ngajak kita rami, ripu, rindu. Tapi dalam kita una rindu, una rami, kita mesti puan ya. Mesti ada batasnya. Mesti ada buahnya ya. Abak kita maru bina lalu, abak kita maru bina ngancang-ngancang, mati kita mau asat jalan, bila kita asat jalan mati kita janjinya ada kayak berguna. Jadi kita mesti jaga ada tinan kayu da bau itu, kiri ke bau, najah ni penggunanya bau, tapi adep mesti reminan untuk adep akal adep dengan cak maju, suni andun janjinya ada berguna.
I'm a proud hybrid Bidayuh. Well, this is what Sarawak is made for. It's for you, it's for me, it's for us, and for our people.
Now that we progress, we don't look at ourselves as I'm Bidayuh from Bau, I'm a Bidayuh from Syrian or Pedawan Pendusan. We tend to just look at ourselves as Bidayuh. So therefore, the BNA has come up with this one slogan that we would like to promote. In Bidayuh, we call it Ini Awang, Ini Aseng. One heart, and one soul. The idea is when we think as a Bidayuh. We don't think as, oh, I'm from Pendusan, I'm from Bedawan Bau. And when we do something, we do it for the community. So if we can unite in that Ini Awang, Ini Aseng, I think that will be a good trend for the Bidayuh to move forward.
Culture, traditions, and beliefs form the framework of our thoughts and behavior. The cultural and traditional values shared across the Bidayuh community give a sense of belonging towards society. Our culture unites us and gives us a sense of identity. The language we speak, the art, literature, and heritage which transcend into our food, our festivals, costumes, and traditions strengthen this proud and gentle race. So what is next for the Bidayuh?
Dah.
You try doing that in Chagoi, in Bidayuh.
Sama ni awang, ni.
That's the part lah.
Yes, that ni awang, ni aseng is actually a motto that we want to promote. And actually that is in Bukar Sadong. If in Jagoy, asong means still one soul. Awang is one heart. Ni asong, ni otin. That is in Bidayuh. Bau.
Oh, got it. All right. And cut.
Habis.